Hey guys, thanks for coming back. And if you're new here, thanks for joining. So we're starting on a new elephant today. A new elephant in the journey of Antiques from Karen. And I have been avoiding it, but I'm ready to tackle it. So originally, when I inherited my mother's estate, almost 5 years ago now, I had a life. I had an awesome life. I have a more awesome life now, but in my head at the time, I had an awesome life. I was single. I was happy being single, and I marched to the beat of my own drum, and I did my own thing, and I loved it. And one of the big parts of that was I was buried by choice into quilting and old vintage sewing machines, particularly Singer. So I did talks at historical societies. I went to estate sales and garage sales, and I sourced them, and some of them I used the parts to rebuild the better machines, and some of them it's a lot, but it was my entire life. All the time. My lunch hours, I went to estate sales that had vintage sewing machines shown in the estate sale, and I never paid more than $30 for any of these machines. So I know it might come as a big surprise, but I was a reseller before I became a reseller for my mom's stuff, but it didn't really occur to me at that point because I wasn't it didn't sell every day. I wasn't listing on Facebook Marketplace. I wasn't listing on eBay. I wasn't doing any of that. I was available locally, personally, to local quilters, and my name got passed around, and I fixed machines. I restored machines. I brought great grandma's old treadle sewing machines back to life so that they could be enjoyed again. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But when my mom fell and was in the hospital for 2 months and then sadly passed away, and I inherited her estate, I tried to live in both worlds, and it killed me. It broke me. It was awful. I went through so many different emotions of just anger and depression and overwhelming feeling. It just, I couldn't live in both worlds and survive. So I made a choice. Some of my older videos talk about the choices that I made, but I made a choice that I needed to temporarily give up my life and dedicate my attention and my energy towards my mom's estate. So as a result, my life that existed before was put in a box and put on the shelf and quickly became a distant memory. And I had to do that emotionally. I had to let it go. And the only way that I was able to let it go was by setting the 5-year goal that I talked about in the beginning of this journey when I started my channel in February of 2021. The 5-year plan to be able to get back to my life at that point. So now, fast forward, my mom's house is sold. the journey of the past 2 years is all documented on this channel. And now I feel like I am in my own life now. I'm not in my mother's life anymore. And I think a big part of that, there's still a lot left, as you guys know. We built a 20 by 60 barn with a 10 by 23 office with a bathroom out on our new property. And what was left of my mom's estate that I did want to research and resell was moved trailer by trailer by trailer by trailer to the barn. But once I let go of my mother's house, which I still have footage of that, and I plan to walk you through that experience. Once I wasn't revisiting my childhood home every day, emotions changed, things changed. Choices became more my own. The first couple of years, I really, really wanted to honor my mother and the life that she chose and make decisions about things that would make her proud. I am at the point where I can say I have successfully made my mother proud and that I no longer owe anything to her. I feel like my debt is paid. And in that way, I gave myself this new wonderful life with the new property that would have never happened without my mother's estate. And now I'm building a new life. So long and short, this life in here that I chose to put in a box and put into limbo now needs to be dealt with. So that's what we're doing. I usually do working lives on Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern. Our working lives, for the moment, I am going to dedicate Sundays to being here, working on this old shop that my mother and I built together. I have pictures of that. I'll put up another video at some point about that. But yeah, my mom helped me. She helped me build this shop, and it was my safe space. It was my favorite space. It was, I got out of work and I came straight out here, and the lights were burning until 1 a.m. every single day. That this is where I was. But now it needs to be dealt with. It needs to be packed up. It needs to be, I'm going to resell 90% of what's in here. 90% of the, it's probably more than 90%. The table saw is big though. So the table saw counts as a pretty hefty percent. I don't know. Between 90 and 95% of this part of my life is going to be liquidated. And I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with it. So let's go and check out our next elephant. Here we go. All right. So I'm at home now. You can see that things have just, we just toss things and, they blow over and they deal later. You can't be in a million places at once. So let's head back to the shop. It's chaos. So this is my beautiful table saw. And this is Babes. As the Tasmanian devil, get her done, got things to do, don't have time to clean it up, don't have time to, whatever. And yeah, so this table saw has been in use through the process of Journey's End, the new property. This has been used lots, but it's just, this needs to get moved to the new place and a lot to clean out. Otherwise, I was getting into quilting with wood. I wanted to do, that's why I bought this table saw at an estate sale, and I wanted to start making sewing machine bases with inlay, with wood inlay, so quilting with wood. This is the kitchen table from my mom's. Those are shipping boxes. Our shipping office was in here for a long time before we bought Journey's End. So there's no shipping in here anymore. This is another piece of furniture from my mom's estate that I wanted to keep. These are those awesome chairs that I wanted to keep. And then the rest of it, you know, this used to be my sewing machine shop. So these are all sewing machine cabinets and tables. This is where all of the wallpaper books ended up. They just need to be photographed and listed. But you can see that these tables are just stacked upon stacked. Now I had a secondary workbench back there. Can't even get to it anymore. All of the Oriental rugs from my mom's estate are in here. And I have previously laid them all out and taken pictures of them. And now they need to get listed and dealt with. More furniture from my mom's estate. This is a piece of the Shopsmith. This was the very first thing I went after when I didn't know if I was going to get my mom's house or not. And that was huge. So I have a full Mark IV Shopsmith with the lathe, the bandsaw, joiner, planer, all that other stuff. She bought that 20 years ago. Actually, it'll probably be more than that now. About 27 years ago. And she never unpacked the boxes. So in the beginning of the journey that is not recorded on my channel, I was digging for all of those pieces, parts. And then when I was able to get the house, I stopped digging for them. But those are all going to be set up. I mean, I was a woodworker before. I was a beginner woodworker before this whole thing started. That was my my grandfather's woodworking tool chest. Beautiful. I love it. I don't want to get rid of it. What else we got? And just tables upon tables upon tables. And these are, some of these are, that's a Martha Washington cabinet right there. Some of the stuff in here is just absolutely amazing, but it's not my life anymore. So as we move over here, there's also an apothecary cabinet that came out of one of the storage units that my mom had, and that is full of little things from my mom's estate. Back there is my lathe underneath that. And then we move into my sewing machine business, which, like I said, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to list it. I'm going to list them, or I'm going to sell them to you guys if you guys want one. But I'm not going to restore all these machines. It's going to be as is. And you know, when I was originally picking up these machines at garage sales, at estate sales and everything else, we're talking, you know, between 10 and 15 years ago. So I sourced all of these really, really cheap. There's a handful of featherweights. These are all Singer 301s, which are amazing. These are called coffin tops to treadle machines. The hexagon cases are for the 301s. Those up there are Singer 66 machines with various types of decals and everything else. But I mean, this is extensive. This shelf is full. This shelf is full. This back workbench, I mean, this has just been abandoned by me on purpose. And there is a lot to deal with, but I gotta start tackling it. This was my workspace. My computer setup used to be there. It's now in my new shop in Pavilion. And it's just, yeah, there's a lot to deal with. And there's a lot of accessories and things like that. So I need to get organized. And I need to tackle how I'm going to sell and list this stuff. But it was so beautifully organized when I originally was working on all of this. And it's sad, but I'm excited to move forward. So this is what we're going to be working on quite a bit. And I'm taking a bunch of stuff over to Rehouse for consignment. So, what did you think of all that? That's what we're going to be doing. So join us Sundays, 3 p.m. Eastern, as we deal with this and get ready to sell this property. And this shop is going to be a huge selling point for the property. It was heated, which all they need to do is, the 220 line is coming out of the ceiling there. All they need to do is add another heater. The air conditioner is leaving and going to the new shop, or the new shipping office. And I mean, it can be a year-round shop for anybody, and it's fabulous. So that's what we're focusing on. If you're not already a subscriber, consider subscribing, because it's going to be at least interesting to watch, to say the least. And I am going to be taking you guys along on the journey. I promise you, there's tons of video clips and everything else for the new property that will be done. All these things have been weighing on me. All these things have been pulling me mentally and emotionally at all angles. Plus I work full time. So when I say that they're coming, they are coming. So keep an eye out for them. But regardless, thanks for being here. Thanks for being on my journey. You guys are so important to me. You were there in the beginning, February 2021. You came in droves and saved my life. I could not have done this without you. I could not have done this without the support of every single person that has left comments and has come to my live shows once I started going live and things like that. And I will never, ever, ever forget that. And I can't even express my gratitude. I don't know how. The only way that I feel that I can give back is to continue to give you shenanigans to watch. So thanks for everything. See you at 3 p.m. That's by the time I upload this, it's going to be in 2 hours. So I don't know how much will be done. We'll see.